Hey guys, early morning video. It's 7 o'clock right now. I was actually up before 6, but I decided to just. I had to I had to take a poopy, and then I sat outside with the cats for a little bit because I had to feed them. So, well, I woke up, so I'm outside. I just got back in with the cats, and I went out to feed them, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I'll feed you guys, but as soon as everyone's here, and I'm counting. I'm like, we're not all here, and I see Midna, and I'm like, let's just wait till everyone. But I'm counting. It's like one, two, three, four, five. Why is there only five? There's supposed to be six. Not remembering that Midna was over there, and because I looked directly at her. So I'm early morning, but I was in the bathroom and I was thinking about good times when I was at SeaWorld. For people who don't know, yes, I worked at SeaWorld. I was a caterer for a year in 2012, and then uh, when I went back to Texas in like 2014, I worked there, and it was like between I did gaming, the games first, and then I think I did the stadium stuff. Like I was one of the schmucks who got to stand out there and you know crowd control, let people in and crap like that. But I was thinking about the one day, especially when you're catering, you don't normally you always have something to do. So if there was no events, there was the Dining with Shamu events. Like when I say events, I mean like big events. Like the ones that we had to wear tuxedos for. And you're like, John, you had to wear a tuxedo? Yeah. Cummerbund and all that. Bow tie. Um, but it was hot. I mean, it's Texas. It was like 103 freaking degrees. And we'd work from like 9 o'clock in the morning till 2 a.m. So 17 hours. Uh, but luckily enough, pretty much as soon as the event finished off, I was able to just and I got naked and I just walked around naked the rest of the time working. No, no, I just switched back to my normal clothes, like my normal work clothes. Um, but it was hot. But I remember this one day I went in and it was like 9 o'clock and we expected to have more, but our first job was to go to the picnic area and clean. There was some kind of event coming up that day or whatever, and they or the next day, and they wanted to make sure the picnic area was cleaned. So go around, sweep around the tables, clean the tables off, make sure everything was in order in the kitchen that was down there, um, you know, stuff like that. And we got it done really, really fast. And I remember it was me, Andrew, two other just employees like me. Andrew was like a team lead, and I don't remember if it was Hector or Gary. It was one of them. Um, they were also team lead. I was unofficial team lead. Whenever the team leads had to like, if we were doing dining with Shamu or something like that, they always left me in charge, and it was only me, unfortunately. That's what you get for working hard, kids. Um, they'd go off. They were like, "Yeah, I've got to go to the front of the park for like 30 minutes. Just make sure everyone gets, you know, everything that needs to be done. Make sure it gets done." You know, it's kind of like at the factory how they take the time to thank you, or certain people. They were constantly thanking me for doing a good job, and it's like, well, I already said I was like, most of the time I just feel like I'm doing a mediocre job. I look around and it seems like everyone else is doing more than me. They're like, no, no, like we leave you in charge for a reason. I'm like, boy, thank you. That really helped my spirits. Um, but this particular day we got done really, really early, and unfortunately because of catering, you can't just, oh, well, we're done. Time to go home. No, you couldn't do that. You could only be released when they told you, oh, hey, yeah, there is nothing left to do. Because we finished up and we got into the truck and we were just driving back and forth around the park, not like the actual park itself, but the area around the park, like it's inside the park, but outside the area, the restricted area. So we were just in the truck and we were just driving around, and I think Chava called and said, "Oh, yeah, we were expecting to have stuff for you guys to do today, but uh, something about events, um, not being that many events at that time. They said she's like, but are you guys still working?" And we're like, "Yep, still working." Like, oh, she's like, "Okay, well, just keep working and just do what you can. And, if something comes up, I'll let you know." She was cool. She was young. All of them were young. She was really cute too. Um, but yeah, they were all young. I was one of the oldest ones though. Oh, we were all around. This was back, geez, I was like, what? 24, 25. Jesus. God, it's been a while. I think the only one who's actually older than me was Amy. Her name was Amethyst, but she didn't like that name, so she just called me Amy. But I think I was the actually I think I was actually yeah, no, actually I was older than Amy by like a couple months, so I was actually the oldest. Uh, so um, but yeah, we told Chava that we were still working, even though we were in the truck riding around, and we just did this for a little while. We went back because after a while we actually got pretty thirsty, so we went back to the picnic area and we went to the cooler. And just keep in mind, they didn't care about us doing this stuff. They actually allowed it because a lot of the stuff would just end up sitting there because the area where it was mainly for the events there, and they didn't get used. So they're like, yeah, if you want to go in and get a soda or something, they kind of restricted by saying only these products. But do you think we really listened to that? Also, those, what is it called? What is it? Nature Valley, Nature Valley. The, like, those oat granola bar things, like the crunchy ones. Yeah, there was like a plethora of those in the kitchen. Uh, Basically, you can eat as many as you wanted. Those never got used. Though they never got used, so they're like, if you want to take a whole freaking box, you can take a whole freaking box. I remember one day we went back, we got soda, and we were just chomping on those things all freaking day. Um, but we were driving around, and Chava finally had something for us to do. Um, I can't remember. I remember we had to put boxes or something. I didn't. Was it Shamu Smokehouse? We had to deliver something somewhere. We had to go from point A to point B somewhere. And I remember having to drive through the park itself, but it was, you know, not open yet, so there's no one there. Everyone was still outside. Because the park didn't like open till like 10 o'clock, 11. So when you got there, if it was like before 10 or 11 or whatever, you could take the truck and easily ride through the park because there was no one there apart from maintenance and other employees. Uh, so I remember we had to get something from where we were. I don't think it was the smokehouse. It might have been over there by for the drum. The drum is like this big area, like this little part by the games. It's like attached to where the games are. It's like this giant cylindrical type room building area. We called it the drum. But I think it was something for over there. I think they were having some event or something like that. They did like an event there. What was it? It's like it was like a food from around the world kind of thing. You'd go in there and kind of be dining in there. We never set up for in there, which was weird. I think everything that they needed was already in there. So I think actually we may have set up once. I think we might have brought like one table in or something. Um, but I think we brought it over there. Um, But yeah, we did that, and so we went back to the picnic area, and we just kind of drove around all day, waiting for Chava to just give us something to do. And eventually, she finally did release us. I think it was maybe 1 o'clock or so. She said, "Yeah, we had more planned, but it looks like it's not going to happen today." She said, "You guys can, take off." And we were like, "Are you sure?" Because we don't want to leave and then get complained at the next time we're here. So, are you sure? So, yes, you guys can leave. You've been here, you've done what we've wanted, you can leave. There's nothing else to do today. And then we're like, okay, Chavo, we love you, bye. But we didn't do. Actually, we kind of did mess with each other a lot like that. So, if one of us did say, love you, like normally if someone's on the phone and I'm listening to them and they're about to hang up, I'd be like, I love you. It's like, who is that? It's no one. Don't mind them. They're just a person who needs a freaking life. But yeah, we just drove around all day in the truck, and it was nice because air conditioning, being that it was Texas and 103-degree weather. And it was cool because like on days, so like even if we didn't have the truck, which I don't know why we wouldn't, um there were buses that drove in the back, like I said, like the restricted area for the employees. So if you were over at like Shamu Stadium and you needed to get back to the main gate for the main employee entrance, you didn't have to walk because it was a long walk. It was a long freaking walk. I mean, you got to keep in mind this is SeaWorld. So it was a long walk. So they had buses that would, take the employees. Because I remember when I was catering, I would have to do that a lot. Uh, there was over by Shamu Stadium, and a lot when I was working over at Shamu Stadium. There were two bus routes. One of them was a little bit closer after I realized. The one bus mainly headed towards like the front of the park, and the other one headed to where I needed to go. So, for the longest time, I was taking the one headed to the front of the park, but it's like I had nothing else to do, so it's like it really didn't matter. But yeah, it was cool. It was just where you needed to go. Um, but yeah, that particular day, I don't know. It wasn't the same day with Scorpion. One day I was at work and there was a freaking scorpion walking. They were like, "John, crush it." So I had like the tray, you know, you don't need scorpions walking around that place, especially when there's children, about to show up. Because I think this was the same day we were doing this event. It was about 5,000 people. It was like 20. Here comes the sun. Um, so like 2,500 the first time, and it was like 2,500, and they stayed for like an hour, and then the next batch would come in. So it was about 5,000 people that day, all in a small area. So you had like 2,500 people in this small picnic area. Um, it seems like it's a lot, but it's like all the events were always wow, like buffet style. So you'd have, the food out there, and we just kind of back and forth and replaced it. Replaced the stuff for the soda machines if it needed to be replaced. Stuff like that. It wasn't too hard. And then after a long day's work, you know, the that's just the most amazing thing, the equality that goes on. You had all the men breaking stuff down and moving stuff, and where were the ladies? People think I'm joking when I say this. I'm not joking. All the women were in the kitchen cleaning dishes. So nice that women fought for years and so hard to have the same rights as men, and then they decide that they want to do the dishes. That's where they all were. and no one could leave until all the dishes were done. So, and there was like 5, 6 girls all doing the dishes, but it took forever. It took forever because they would stop, they would chat, and we're outside moving tables and cleaning up and getting stuff done, and the girls are in there chatting as they're doing the dishes. And it was like this all the time. You would never see any of the girls doing any of the heavy lifting or being out there after the event. They were out there during the event and before the event, but when it came to breaking stuff down or moving things, nope, always the guys. Equality. It's like, well, maybe I want to go in there doing dishes. Especially over with the dining with Shamu, you really didn't have to do dishes. You just kind of like put them all on the, you washed them a little bit, but then there was the machine, there's like a steamer type thing, and washed them and cleaned them. It was like a giant moving dishwasher. It's really cool. They go in and it's like like I said, it's like a steamer, washing, like a dishwasher. So it wash them first, and then it was like a steam type thing at the end. And they came out nice and clean. And then you're like, not gonna get sick from that. It's clean. No. I really need to put something over the window. Huh. The duality of man. You know, the facial hair looks a little different when it's lit up like that. My hair doesn't look so dark, obviously. It's still really dark. People are like, your hair is black. I'm like, no, it's dark brown. They're like, no, it's black. I'm like, really? Explain this then. Explain. He's like, it looks black. I'm like, it's dark freaking brown. How hard is that? It's dark freaking brown. God, that is a bright sun. It's a bright it's a bright sun. It's a very bright sun. It's actually pretty nice out right now. It's like 60 something degrees. But by what time is it right now, did I say? Yeah, by like 8 o'clock or so, it's gonna be like 72 degrees. And then it's gonna be like 78 by 9. So wow, that is getting bright. I know, it's like, John, freaking do something about it. No. But anyways, yeah, that I remember that particular story from SeaWorld, and I was like, you know what? I think I'll share that because it was a fun day. We didn't really do anything. We just drove around in the truck. We just drove around and waited for Chava to tell us what to do. And then we were like, let's go get some soda. And then we drive around, finish our sodas, and they were like, hey, let's go get some more sodas. Like, oh, we haven't had a soda in like 5 whole minutes. I think we need to go get some. Uh, but yeah, I just thought of it. Of course, I do my best thinking in the bathroom, so don't all men, don't we all do our best thinking in the bathroom? Gotta raise myself up here. Um, but yeah, I'm sure there's a few more stories from SeaWorld that I will probably tell that I haven't thought of. Uh, but that was just one of them. Simple story, just because nothing really happened. The one day, nothing really happened. The one day with catering, I was actually able to go home early. Normally it's get up, go to work at 9 o'clock, and stay till it's supposed to be till 5, but then you end up having to stay till 12 o'clock in the morning because nobody else wants to help set up for the next event, so John gets stuck doing it. Or it was like the catering events where like we'd have the tuxedos on and we'd go from 9 o'clock in the morning till about 2 a.m. and So when I hear these Gen Zers complain about like a 25-hour work week, I'm like, oh, that's cute. Because for me, it was every day. It was either 12 hours or 17 hours. So, so when I hear these kids complaining about like 25-hour work week or 20 hour, it's like, get out of my sight. It was fun stuff though. I mean, I didn't. It was the only thing I minded was the heat. That was the only thing I cared about. You know, if we were doing tuxedo events in the freaking winter time, I don't think I would care. This the winter, you know, it got cold sometimes, especially in the mornings. But wintertime, we didn't have a lot of all the events we did were inside, so it would have been better. But I had to work 25 hours this week. Oh, my sweet, sweet summer child. I'm sure you guys feel the same. I'm sure you guys have had jobs where you've had to work 12, 17 hours, and then you hear these freaking kids complain about having to work like 20 hours a week. And then you're like, back in my day. But it was fun. It was fun. Anyway, I'm sure you guys are like, John, tell us some more. Tell us some more stories of your days at SeaWorld. I will if I think of any. My memory's not so good anymore, kids. You got to remember, Grandpa's 150 years old, so. Anyway, that's going to do for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.